The most expensive thing you own has nothing to do with money. It's the rage you felt when you got passed over for that promotion. The frustration that kept you up at 3 a.m. staring at a bank balance that refused to move. The quiet, simmering fury of watching someone half as talented as you drive twice the car, live twice the life, build twice the future. You've been sitting on a fortune your entire adult life. And every single time someone told you to calm down, every time you breathed through it, journaled past it, meditated it away, you burned it. Here's what nobody in the self-help industry will tell you about negative emotions. They are not a malfunction, they are not a personality flaw that therapy needs to correct. They are not noise that a better morning routine will silence. They are raw energy. The same emotional charge that drove every person who ever built something from nothing. The same fire that historically powered every breakthrough, financial, professional, creative, that came from people who had every reason to stay stuck but refused to. Right now, your frustration is one of the most powerful financial assets you possess. The problem isn't that you have it, the problem is you have no engine to run it through. In the next 10 minutes, you're going to understand exactly how to turn anger into money, not as a motivational concept, but as a mechanical process. There's a specific system for converting negative emotions into financial results, and once you see how it works, you will never look at a bad day the same way again. And more importantly, you'll stop wasting the most powerful fuel source you generate every single week. Think about what happened when the first coal-fired steam engines were invented in the 1800s. Before those engines existed, burning coal just meant heat, uncontrolled, dangerous, directionless heat. People burned enormous quantities of coal and watched the energy literally rise through the ceiling and disappear into the air. Then someone asked a different question. Not how do we produce less heat, but what if we trapped it? What if we pressurized it? What if we pointed it somewhere specific? The Industrial Revolution was not about discovering a new source of energy. It was about building a system to capture energy that already existed and was already being wasted. Your anger is the coal, your frustration is the fire. Your financial stagnation is what happens when you have a fully loaded boiler and no engine connected to it. Here's what actually happens inside your body when you experience financial frustration. When the bills don't add up, when your income won't grow, when you see the gap between where you are and where you thought you'd be by now. Your brain releases cortisol and adrenaline, heart rate spikes, cognitive focus narrows, every unnecessary function shuts down and all available energy floods toward action. Your body is funding you. In that moment, physiologically, you are operating at your highest capacity. Neurologically, more energy is available than at any other point in your day. And then what do most people do with it? They scroll, they vent to someone who can't change anything, they eat something. And this is the one that gets labeled healthy, they breathe deeply until the feeling passes. They vented the steam straight into the atmosphere. Nothing moves, nothing gets built, the boiler goes cold. And the next day, the same frustration builds up again, finds no outlet again, goes nowhere again, until gradually, and this is the part that should disturb you, the person stops feeling it as sharply. The signal weakens, the energy stops showing up. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. Wealthy people call it a waste. Here's where everything shifts. The reason most people can't channel negative emotions into financial results isn't emotional weakness. It's not a discipline problem. It's not a mindset gap. It's an engineering problem. They have no conversion mechanism. A Formula One engine and a lawnmower engine both run on combustion. Both use explosions to generate movement. But one is engineered to capture every microburst of energy with precision and direct it into movement at 200 miles per hour. The other cuts grass. Same fuel, different engineering. When you feel financial rage, when you're genuinely, specifically angry at the gap between your effort and your results, that emotion has a distinct neurological profile. Researchers call it approach motivation. Unlike fear, which triggers avoidance and paralysis, anger is directional. It physically moves you towards something. It wants a target. The difference between people who build wealth from hard places and people who stay stuck isn't that one group has more anger. They both have fire. The difference is where they aim it. Most people aim it at circumstances, at the economy, at other people, at luck. And every time they do, the energy disperses and disappears. You need to aim it at a system. Now here's the part that almost no one is willing to say out loud. Most emotional coping strategies, the ones you were taught, the ones that get praised, were designed to make you stable, not powerful. Let it go, breathe through it. Don't let negative emotions control you. For relationships, for physical health, for social functioning, that's sound advice. But financially, every time you successfully dissolve financial frustration without doing anything with it, you just deleted a deposit. The embarrassment you felt the last time you had to decline something because the money wasn't there, that's pressure. The resentment about how long it's taking, that's stored potential. The quiet rage at yourself for not being further along, that's a fully pressurized boiler. You're generating the fuel constantly. You've just been trained to release it harmlessly before it can move anything. And here's the one detail that makes this feel almost impossible. The biological window is 90 seconds. After an emotional trigger, you have approximately 90 seconds of peak neurochemical charge. After that, cortisol begins to metabolize, the spike drops, the energy fades. Most people spend those 90 seconds processing the feeling, analyzing it, talking about it, waiting for it to make sense. By the time they understand what they felt, the fuel is already cold. This is why frustrated people have 1,000 plans and zero execution. The activation energy never lands on the right target at the right moment. The frustration and money never connect. So here's the engine. A 3-part conversion system for turning negative emotions into financial results. First, the redirect. The moment you feel the spike, and you'll know it, the chest tightens, the jaw sets, the heat behind the sternum, you do not analyze it. You redirect it immediately into one preloaded financial action. Not a list, one action, decided in advance, waiting for the moment. An extra transfer, a difficult email you've been avoiding, an enrollment you keep postponing. You aim the heat and move within the 90-second window before the biology stops cooperating. Second, the compression. Raw anger is powerful but imprecise. It burns fast and uneven. The people who build real financial momentum don't just redirect the spike, they also compress the emotion into a recurring weekly practice. 15 minutes once a week of sitting with a specific financial gap. Not to feel worse about it, but to map it with precision. Where exactly is the distance between where you are and where you intend to be? What specifically about that distance makes you angry? That specificity creates pressure, and pressure, correctly contained, generates force. This is how you transform frustration into a productivity engine that runs consistently, not just in moments of peak emotion. Third, the proof loop. Anger is powerful but unsustainable as a primary fuel. Every engine needs a feedback mechanism. The first time you redirect that emotional spike into a financial action and see a result, even a small one, your brain begins to rewire. Frustration stops meaning paralysis. It starts meaning movement. You've built a new association, and associations repeated enough become automatic. This is how the conversion system becomes self-sustaining. Every result feeds the next cycle, and the engine becomes something you no longer have to force. The difference between the person who stays financially stuck and the person who breaks through is not drive. They both have drive. It's not intelligence. It's not luck or timing or circumstances. It's whether they have something to do with their fire. The most financially devastating thing that can happen to a person isn't failure. It's having the fuel and no engine. It's generating real emotional energy every single week, the frustration, the anger, the hunger, and releasing it harmlessly into the air while wondering why nothing moves. You have been generating wealth-building energy your entire life. Every difficult moment around money was a deposit. Every time you felt behind, overlooked, underpaid, overlooked, stuck, that was energy entering the system. You just never built the machine to capture it. Here's the thing they don't teach you about engines. The bigger the fire, the more power the machine generates, but only if the machine is built to handle it. There is an entire dimension of financial momentum that lives just beyond emotional management. And there is a second emotion, not anger, not frustration, that produces something even more sustained, even more precise as a financial engine. Most people would never think to convert it because it doesn't feel like fuel. Stay with this channel, because that one changes the architecture of everything.